So with okay, let's start.
Yeah, let's get started. So this is the biweekly Kepler community meeting. Today is April 4th. This is the last meeting before we have this 0.5 release. So we have some issues to resolve and some discussions to happen. So let's just do the first thing first. We have some critical PRs, actually very impressive PRs, and also some pending issues we need to resolve. Marcelo, would you mind just share what we have done on the dependence library?
Yeah, so which PR is it? So just
yeah, there's 609 and 611.
Oh, sure. Yeah, so the 609, let me open here. Yeah. We have been talking for a while, to update the way that we collect C group metrics, because we have a code that only works for C group version 2. And for example, I have a system that has C group version 1 and it couldn't collect metrics from there. And also our code, it's like very big, and some has people has pointed before some performance problem in the current code. And then we were discussing to use external library. Actually, this library was suggested by some. It's very good. So it's from Containerd. A lot of other projects are using, for example, Kubernetes itself. It's using this library to manipulate containers, C groups. And for example, Kata containers also using this library. And it's kind of a big project. It's the Containerd library to access the C groups. Okay, so it can create C groups, can do a lot of things, and it also can collect the metrics. So it simplifies a lot the code and make everything much more consistent. And this PR is doing that. And plus, it can collect metrics from C group version 1 and 2 in a very easy way. And this PR is basically doing that. Removing the old logic to collect C group metrics and using the library instead. And I'm sure that we are collecting the same metrics, so that it will be that was available before. So and it has some additional dependence here that we need to import because remove because we changed the libraries. And so we still have this logic of run tests on Mac. That's why I have this Darwin and Linux things here.
Just a quick question. So does the library itself using any of the special services? I thought this could be very old or just could be naive. I thought the library itself created a HTTP service or endpoints. So the stats was getting from the endpoints. Was that the case? Okay, that's okay.
Yeah, it's not doing that. Is actually in the end, it's also reading files. But it keeps update the library, and it's more bug free and also simplifies also our code. And the best thing is it works for C group version 1.
Yeah, that's great. All right, I think this is a very good one. So as long as we can remove all the C group 1 limitations, that is a very good start. So I think my idea is to get it seen as early as we can, so we do not have any last minute surprises before the release. But that's something people agree here. So I see there's already Jicheng and Sam already approved it.
Yeah, there is only one thing that we were asking from Pangsang. I don't know if she's here. Is okay. Yeah. So I removed a duplicated metric. So because we were collecting the block IO metrics in 2 different places. So there is the C group map that has the C group matrix, and the container matrix map structure also had specific field for block IO matrix. So since it's duplication, I just using only concentrate the C group matrix in the C group map. So
Okay. Is that the one that with the library that you just added?
yeah, it's just PR here. So
Okay.
I
Yeah,
removed
sorry
this.
for my delay review, but I think it's totally fine for me. I mean, like I haven't shake the full PR yet, but the reasons that we have the by IO before is that because we cannot find the compatibilities with the current implementations, but if the library is already provided, I think it totally makes sense to me to remove the one that we separate.
Okay. Right. Let's just guess the PR. Thank you. And we just move on
Great.
to the next. So 610 is a somehow my 610 is an issue. It looks so Pan found this issue on the accelerator. Marcelo, you're already on top of it. So hopefully we can get a resolution by this week or next, so we can close this before the release.
Mhm. Yeah, so
Okay.
my question here is, I think probably, but okay, we can wait like Ponsan to reply this, but is it a machine that has GPUs?
Here
Just to
is
make
the
sure.
machine that has the GPU. But I'm not sure if it's related to the stabilities of the node or not, because like firstly it can read the GPUs, but after the time goes, maybe there is something wrong with the GPU and it cannot read that anymore. It's maybe cause these errors. It may not related to the Keplers, but it would be good if like we can handle such a thing, like for example, our GPU failure. Yeah.
Oh, I see. So in this case, that's why I'm asking here, like, where is the new pointer? So if the problem is reading the GPU, probably is the process utilization dot as the object.
Yeah. I haven't like checked that one by one, because as I say, it's
Mhm.
just I cannot reproduce it. So even I like check that one by one with printing something, it may not show that yet or something like that. So I
See.
just put it here. Yeah.
So if it's not possible to reproduce, maybe we can assume that it's the third one, because the other one we already checked many times in the code. So,
Yeah.
and then if we find that the process utilization is null, we can just skip the
Yeah, if
code
that
there.
is a NVIDIA bug, then we probably have to do some
Yeah.
workaround.
Mhm.
Okay. Right. So Masato, do you want to take it?
Yeah, or Pansan do. It's up to you. So I can do or Pansan can do. It should be fine.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Okay, I'll fix that tomorrow then. Yeah.
Okay. That's great. 611.
Okay, so this actually it's been for a while that I want to work on that. Is there are some advantage to actually, I think this is what's related to the thing that you mentioned before, that we access the container runtime. So actually it's also a HTTP server that we will connect. So because in the end, we are getting the pod and the container information. I mean, the name of the container, things like that, the pod name, all this information. The container ID, we get it from the path, the C group information, but the information itself, we get some from kubelet.
Yeah.
So, however, the current code, what we can do is we list all the containers from all the pods from the kubelet, and then we traverse the pod list and the containers from each pod to actually find the specific container that we have. So in the worst case scenario, in a machine that has a lot of containers, it can be a big overhead,
Right.
to traverse the list. And then the other thing that we have is there was this issue 606 that there was some timeout to access the kubelet API. Not sure why, but someone found that. And just to say that if we can avoid as much as possible to connect to the kubelet API, might be good. So, but just timeout might be something else. I'm just saying that here, just for motivation. And finally, the other thing that it's actually was my first motivation, the biggest one. I found some problems that sometimes some containers were not being identified. So, for example, because the logic that we have now is we check the container ID. If there is no container ID for a given process, we classify this process as a system process and put it in the cache. So, however, there was some delay in the kubelet to update the container ID. So it was actually a real container and was classified as a system process. It's not easy to reproduce that, but it happened for me sometimes. And that's what's happening. So once this process is wrongly classified as system process, it never will be classified as a container. And there is this bug there. And this is because the kubelet actually it's a prox. So kubelet it's accessing the container runtime, creating an object and then reporting it. So it has some very tiny delay, but there is a delay. So between the container creation and the update that the kubelet is doing for this information. So if we can, instead of use the kubelet proxies to access the container information, we could directly access the container runtime to get this information, actually using the kubelet libraries. So this PR is doing that. So it's using the kubelet libraries to directly access the container runtime. And with that, we can access directly the container information using the container ID. So we don't need to traverse anymore, the full list. And we remove the dependency from the kubelet API. And I didn't have any more this delay thing that kubelet was introduced.
I think this all makes sense to me. And the less dependency, the less overhead, the better. The only problem is I see this this escalated amount points. So that scares me quite a lot. So previously, just for the context, previously we had an issue with in Kubernetes. That's people expose the issue in the nested mounts. So the trick was to expose the Docker socket, and then the containers that have the access to the Docker sockets can manipulate any containers on the running on the node. So that creates a lot of issues in Kubernetes, and we spend lots of time to fix it. So whenever I see some of the configuration that's exposed the Docker sockets, I'm quite concerned. The issue that's if we are doing something, so if you are giving a specific privilege escalation, especially going to the sockets level to access all the containers, then if something goes wrong with our code, or if there's anything we are not processing carefully, then that could give the opportunities to be taken over by other processes to manipulate the sockets and to change the containers running on the node.
Yeah,
So
security concern. Yeah. I mean, it's security part of concern or point of view on the container runtime socket. And one more thing is that well, I just go through the PR. So assume one runtime or say a host VM maybe just have a single container runtime, either Docker or containerd or etc. So even if we're going to have a mount point, we just have a single one, maybe passed by some config map or something will looks good. So currently we loop for Docker, loop for each type of runtime. I think we don't need to loop for the implementation.
Yeah, so I think the operator can do that, isn't it? So definitely we can maybe have some patches here to find. But if we are not using the operator, there is no way to find it before deploy it, isn't it? So that's why I include everything here. And what Huami mentioned is this is true because it makes the problem worse because we have extra the container runtime, of course, but the Kepler already has a lot of privilege in it. So if someone enter in Kepler, it can already do a lot of damage. So I'm not sure. So
Yeah, so right now we only read information. So we do not giving other privileges to the Kepler. So if you are looking at the we have a system admin for now, but that's going to be changed to BPF admin privilege. So it's going to be read only. And the Kubernetes API, we only have the read and watch API. We do not have a update. So everything is read only. But if you are given to the runtime socket, the picture may change quite a lot. So that means once we have access to the sockets, then you can issue API calls that will manipulate the containers. So that is something we have to be careful.
yeah. So how do
I think this is a very good discussion. I actually am going to meet some of the OpenShift architects this week. So this could be one of those questions we can run with them. So how to balance the overhead and get the privileged APIs to reduce the overhead. So if they have some good suggestions, maybe you can pursue over there. So I will share the PR with them and that lets you know what they are thinking. And then we can start from there.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, I think this is the overall motivation is really strong. So I just raised the. Yeah, go ahead, Sam.
Okay, so I think one point is the security risk and concern for mount the container runtime socket and something I'm not sure if by this PR or the current implementation we can fix the risk condition reported by Jichen. So in our cases somehow I'm not sure if chaos can help to reproduce or something. So we in our environment we have a Kepler there, right? And the Kepler mounting some pod and service due to some reason. The pod of our service keep crash and restart it, and which case risk condition through maybe Kubernetes or through C group, etc. So in my point of view, somewhere in our code, read the pod before and after the crash and make something risk condition. So, well, by this PR, or if we are able to read the container information directly from the socket, is there any chance to fix the risk condition?
The risk condition will be, I think this is a different issue here. The problem, let me open up the issue first. The problem is that we have the pod ID, the container ID mapping to the pod info, and that is cached. So if we are able to find let's say if there's a two containers with similar different IDs mapped to the same name, then that creates the issue.
So you mean even if we have
Mhm.
uh
Even if you
read
have
the
even if you have access to the runtimes container runtime, you will still have the same problem, because as long as you have two IDs, see in my case, so as long as you have two, so this is mapped to the same container name, right? So if you are looking at what
okay, so
yeah,
so even
this
if
is the
there are
container
two
name.
container
This is sorry, this is the
because
pod
they
name.
map into this.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for same pod name, if the container restarted twice, you will have different container IDs.
So if you see my last comment, there is a way to fix that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just check how the Prometheus metrics, what they are doing to fix this, because this problem exists there, isn't it?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
things are restarting. So in the end, for example, this general, metrics, the container C group, the CPU usage, what
Okay.
they do, they have the ID. So the ID is the C group path,
All right.
and also the name here, it's the container ID. That's the labels they're using. So I'm suggesting here that we introduce this ID with the C group path and or container ID, and then we should be fine, because they are doing that in the other metrics. So we are
Okay.
not doing something weird.
Yeah,
Okay.
that sounds good. Anybody want to take it up? I think this is also a related issue. Yeah. So this is I worked with Anderson for a while, and this issue seems like my hypothesis is OpenWhisk have this pre-warmed containers, and then migrates these pre-warmed containers into runtime containers. So the container ID could be the same, but pod ID could be different. This is a totally different scenario. So in Jichen's scenario, the pod name is the same, but container ID changes. In this scenario, the container ID is the same, but probably, that's my thinking, probably gets different pod name once they move from the pre-warm condition to execution condition. So the two issues may be related, and I hope the adding the container ID information will fix both issues.
So I do not see this issue, sorry. And
5 and 6. Yeah.
But I have just a comment here, is we have this logic of preload the Kepler. So we list all the pods and preload. So it means that follows a different path from BPF. So all the metrics, all the containers that already exist before Kepler are preload, and then they will be there in the system.
Right.
Even though if BPF is not working or updating things, we have containers there. So if he can see some old containers, he cannot see new ones. I suspect that it's the BPF part not working, so it's not loading new containers, and he's just seeing the one that we saw, the preload ones.
That could be one of the case, but that chance is very low. I think the BPF is working, and we can I can see the runtime the containers that has been running.
Okay.
The only concern is if the just like you say, you change the pod name, the container for the same container, you change the pod name. How can we detect that? Because the cache is already loaded with that container ID, but we do not know that the name, the pod name changes. We have to go back to the Kubernetes again to get its latest pod name. So that is something we cannot catch.
Right. I'm thinking that when we change the pod name, does it recreate the container?
Probably not.
I'm not sure.
I don't know. That's that's my theory. I have not verified it yet.
Okay, let's double check that, because I think
Okay.
when we change the pod manifest, it actually creates a new container. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I
don't
this.
know. But if you just
Okay.
directly change the API, change the Kubernetes, if you use the Kubernetes API, you probably can change the pod name. But
Let's
anyway,
check that.
yeah. So we're going to change that later. All right, so that's for what we have here. So Pam, I see the process counts and the CPU ID changes. Do we need to update the models? Does the change need to update the models that we are using?
Sorry, could you say that again?
Yeah,
The-
the process and the process counts and the CPU ID map and the CPU mapping, the PR that's merged. Does the PR change the models that we are using for calculate the energy? I forgot to
First
share.
of all, I didn't use the process called for the model. The second part is I'm not sure about the numbers that the C group report is still the same or not. Yeah. So maybe we have to retrain or not, but yeah. Anyway, we don't have a proper one yet. I mean, like the power model.
Okay.
It will just only respond to the numbers of the C group, so we need to validate that later. Yeah.
Okay.
But I think the export metric is the same, right, Marcelo?
Mhm.
You didn't change the name of the metric, right?
No, I haven't changed anything yet.
No, it will
Yeah.
be the same. Everything will be the
Okay.
same.
In
And-
that case, at least it will produce a number, but we have to validate it.
Yeah, the metrics should be the same also. It's reading the same thing. Just
Mm.
just now we have C group version 1 metrics. So the system that we
Yeah.
didn't have metrics before for this system.
Yeah. So it should be good. Yeah.
Related with the model. So recently I do some test on 0.4 release version. So it seems just the CPU related model being there. Unfortunately, my test case is a comprehension between focus on memory, or say memory usage. So is there any chance for us to support both CPU and the memory in 0.5 release?
Motion detected at your front door.
I didn't say anything, but yeah. First of all, like currently we have just only the model that probably good for the CPU intensive workload, but for the memory intensive workload, I haven't properly trained yet. So yeah, I would say like the current model is still need a lot to train. Yeah.
Oh, okay, I got it. So
And also like now the DRAM one is not validate one, but is can work just only with the package, which is not include the DRAM power. Yeah, I don't.
So
Yeah, I cannot find a workload that can like intensively increase the DRAM power. If you have noticed there, if you have any workload that can straight the DRAM power, it would be nice to
It's-
share.
Stress NG stream workload can do that.
Is it increase the DRAM power a lot?
Yes,
Okay, great. Yeah, so maybe I would try to run that train.
I can show you. So the other thing that I think it's worth mentioning here is when we go for the VM context without hardware counters and only using the C group metrics, okay, or some BPF metrics, we don't have the memory access. So just the memory footprint, memory allocation. So by only getting the memory allocation, we cannot really figure out the memory access. And then it will be very hard to create a model that shows the energy consumption of the memory without the memory access. So just to mention here that it's a big challenge. So it might be that we can maybe check some BPF metric that might show some memory access somehow. Not sure if it's possible, because also the BPF metrics for memory might have huge overhead. to track that. But I think that I tried to see in the past, I didn't find, but maybe things can get new and we can find something. But it's really, really challenging to get the memory access, read and writes, and which actually determines the energy consumption, not just the allocation. Allocates a memory doesn't mean it's reading and doing reading and writes. Okay.
So in my point of view, I just I'll say want to know are we going able to support it in 0.5 for first release for 0.5, or maybe we can fully support it in maybe 0.5 0.1 or 0.2 there.
I just understand the question. So, Woman, did you understand
Sorry.
that?
So I just want to say, I want to know if the memory related support can meet our date for 0.5 release.
Okay. I will suggest to keep this for the next release because I think this needs a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
there's a lot of research needs to be done in the first place. And,
Yes.
yeah. Maybe we can
Okay,
just
I
talk.
got it.
Yeah, maybe we can just check the release dates. So Peru is here. Yeah, Peru. Do you mind just see what's our plans for the release? Hello, Peru. Yeah, just okay, so maybe we can just discuss this on Slack. So the plan is that we're going to have the release cut by April 15th. So Peru is going to release the final 0.5 release by that time. This is going to be before KubeCon, so we will have some updates over there.
Also, are we going to have presentation KubeCon? Sorry,
Yeah,
if you
so
I not.
so we have a keynote session, but it's only 5 minutes. Kara from Red Hat and me are going to be over there for the events. And we also have some souvenirs to hand out as the Red Hat booth. So anybody go to KubeCon, we'll have the souvenirs. Some spoiler, I think there's a swag and there's also a small shopping bag with the Kepler logo.
Nice. Yeah. Thank you.
I will keep one for you, Marcelo. Next time when we meet, I will give you the souvenirs.
Yeah, that will be great.
So any more
Hi,
updates on? Yes.
Am I audible now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay. So I got it. Yeah, I would revisit the label and then I will cut the PR. I got it. Thanks.
Right. Thank you. Any more updates on the development side and this release?
So I just catching up all the. I think that the Kepler operator has been released in the operator hub. I need to just test it, and I think we are also good for cutting the release for the Kepler operator around April 15th as well. Okay. So we will have the model server incorporated, so that is also done. And I would give a better update on the Slack channel. I'm just still catching up a lot of emails after 2 weeks of long holiday.
Yeah, welcome back.
And I don't know if this is the right way, but we are doing a demo at the Red Hat Summit. So we are also working on the labs. So if anybody is present at Summit, they can check it out. But I think it's only for partners and customers. But I would definitely put the video on YouTube channel so people can look over there.
Yes, that's great. So we also have 2 more demos for the CNCF tags. One is for sustainability tag, which is happening tomorrow. So the other one is for the runtime tag. That's the day after. So the way I'm going to do the demo, I'm not going to do it my own. And so I do ask people to share their recordings, so we can play the recordings just in case you are not able to make for the time. So the 3 recordings I asked for, one is from Marcelo on the Kepler overall architecture, and Sam Pam for the model server, and also Sam for the GitHub Actions. And if you have more ideas you want to share with the community, the CNCF tags, prepare a 5 minutes recording, and I will share with the tags when I do the presentation.
So
Uh,
is it tomorrow?
Yeah, that's one tomorrow for the sustainability tag, and there's a runtime tag that is on the Thursday.
Okay, so I will prepare that tomorrow morning and send you. Tomorrow morning in
Okay.
Japan, so it will be.
Yes.
Yeah, could you tell us the the time? I mean,
Yeah,
with
it's
the time zone. Yeah.
so tomorrow, let's see, 11 a.m. Eastern time.
Wow.
That's I know that's too late, and same thing for the tag runtime.
Mhm.
11 a.m.
I have a
E-
question.
And
Yeah, go ahead.
Romy, where we
Uh-huh.
should share the video?
Yeah, either you put on YouTube or just you share the video directly with me. You know,
Okay.
either Google.
It's 5
Google.
minutes, isn't it?
Yeah, 5 minutes is the best. So we can put
Okay.
3 of them together. That is 15 minutes. And I will do a quick demo, runtime demo at the session. So that's going to be 20 minutes. And I can also get another 10 minutes for Q&A.
Okay.
So Huamin, so I need to, okay, I
Yeah.
only have 5 minutes for both action and the local environment, right?
Yeah. So if you have 5 minutes to get the development environment and GitHub Action, that would be great.
Oh,
Romy,
okay. I will try to merge 2 videos in 5.
Okay.
last question, Romy. So
Uh-huh.
is it only the architecture or the motivation introduction as well, or you are going to do that?
Just share just for 5 minutes, whatever you want to say. Just let me know what you have said, so I do not have to repeat the same thing. So if you covered both the motivation and the architecture, and then I just go to something else.
Okay, I will.
Yeah.
I'll do that
And also,
tomorrow and let you know.
Yeah, if anybody have some ideas what you want to share with the CNCF tags, just record a video and tell me what this video is about. So I do want to have like a community-based presentation if you are not over there. And if you want to join with me on the sessions, feel free to ping me on Slack.
I don't know if we have meeting tomorrow, but maybe I can join. So let's see.
Yeah, it's only 11 a.m. 11 my time.
Yeah.
You're midnight.
It might be
Okay.
midnight. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's possible to like send us their invitations even if we
Yeah, I
are
will.
not.
Okay, I will send you the invitations. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Romy.
Yeah, sure. Anytime.
So I include this last PR here, the 599.
Okay.
I saw someone. I don't know his name. It's
Yeah. I think it's for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
Yeah. Hi. I think I had a constructive discussion with Marcelo in Slack,
Okay.
and I think we have found the proper way to refactoring the code, and I will update the PR soon. Yeah.
Okay. So if you can get
Yeah.
this done by this week, we can merge this before the release date.
Sure. Please
Okay.
help review that.
All right. So Marcel and Pam will be the best reviewers. I'm really not quite available nowadays. Forgive me if I missed the PRs. So whenever you feel ready, and Marcel and Pam, feel free to merge the PRs.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. So that's all from me. Anybody have anything to share? If not, then we're done for today, and I will send the updates on the future meetings. So we will not. This is our last meeting before 0.5 release. We as repeat, we are going to have 2 review sessions, end of the April and end of May. So basically, end of the KubeCon, end of Red Hat Summit. The review, the discussion meetings are for the 0.6 release feature discussions. So this is in the last meeting we had the planning meeting. So we're going to set up the planning meetings 2 dates, 2 times. One is the end of April, the other one is the end of May, to discuss what we want to have in 0.6. So 0.6 is going to be feature packed. We need to support a number of things here. So we will have discussions for those issues, for those features, and then see who can do what and what can be put into 0.6. And my initial planning is we release 0.6 by end of August, and so that will give us 3 months. End of May, it's going to be 3 months to do the implementation, and then we cast release by August. If you have any other ideas you want to share and any dates you want to propose for the planning meeting, also just share the information on Slack. Otherwise, I will just send out the meeting invites probably after KubeCon. All right, that's really the end of my material. Any more questions, discussions? If so, if not, then I will see you end of the month.
Okay.